So the primary function of positive emotions, positive moods, is to broaden and build. That is to say that positive emotions, such as joy, happiness, pride, allow your mind to blossom, to create more options, more possibilities in terms of thought and action. So if you watch Brett Favre on the football field, for instance, you'll see him smiling and joking around all the time, no matter how high the stakes are of the game he's in. And it's critical to me for any position in any sport that's creative, such as running back or quarterback in football or a midfielder or a striker in soccer, that you have access to these positive emotions during the game. And it may just be contentment or relaxation or calm, but it allows you to think and act in new ways that the defense does not expect or anticipate, and therefore it gives you an advantage. The other thing about positive emotions is that they function as a hidden reset button. They undo the negative physiological effects of destructive emotions. So for instance, fear and anger both jack up your heart rate. They increase your blood pressure and your pulse. And they dump cortisol and adrenaline into the bloodstream. Positive emotions like happiness, amusement, or laughter, for instance, they act as that hidden reset button to undo those negative effects. So they lower your blood pressure, they lower your heart rate, they lower your pulse, and they send out hormones to undo the effects of cortisol and adrenaline. So positive emotions help us to be more creative, imaginative, and innovative. So in the workplace, if you want to brainstorm for a new marketing slogan, you'll do a much better job if you and your team are happy when you do it. In addition, positive emotions have these long-term beneficial effects. They build enduring personal resources, and they function as reserves that you can draw on to help out your loved ones when there's a threat or a crisis down the road. So in other words, positive emotions fill up your gas tank. They fill up your emotional reservoir. They increase your sense of well-being and your physical health. Now, you want to be aware that bad events, negative thoughts, negative feelings, are roughly 3 to 5 times more powerful than good ones. We've found in psychology that bad is generally stronger than good by a factor of about 3 or 4 or 5 times. So the goal here is to be happy or content or relaxed at least 3 times more often than you're unhappy. So think about it as a ratio. You're trying to spend roughly 75% of your time in a positive emotional state and only 25% in a negative emotional state. So it becomes more and more critical to me to realize that these positive emotions have this huge impact on our physical being, our success, our performance at work, the quality of our relationships, and more. All right, negative emotion, on the other hand, narrows your focus. So it cuts down the possible thoughts and actions that are available to you when your emotional mind thinks that you are in danger, under threat, or suffering a loss. And we know that each negative emotion exists for a very important reason, largely determined by evolution. So to give you an example, anger motivates you to act to remove barriers which lie between you and your goals. Fear acts to keep you safe from threat or harm. Sadness works to keep you closer to home during times of loss, so you can attract people and resources to you to help you rebuild your energy. And as I mentioned before, it's generally understood that bad is stronger than good, or the negative is stronger than the positive. Bad events seem to have a greater power over us, our emotions, our thoughts, and behaviors than do good ones. You are more motivated to avoid bad self-definitions than to pursue good ones. You are quicker to form bad judgments of other people than to form good ones. And negative emotions are about 3 to 5 times more powerful than positive ones. Now, please keep in mind that you don't ever really want to get rid or eliminate any emotion, even the negative ones, because they're all there for a reason. They serve a purpose. Your goal is merely to become aware of your emotions and your moods, and as you gain greater awareness of your emotional landscape, you will enjoy more and more choices in how you respond to situations. Now, the hard part is that you have to learn to be aware of your emotions within a few split seconds of their onset. Studies have shown, for instance, that the anger cycle can be interrupted if the thought processes that accompany it are broken within the first 0.3 of a second. Difficult? Yeah, you bet. Impossible? No, not a chance. So you have to be that tuned into your body. You have to have that kind of bodily awareness that you can sense your heart rate increase within the first 0.3 of a second of anger coming over you. And once you do that, you can have a choice as to how you respond once anger comes over you. So, on a slightly different tangent, you have 3 natural enemies: fear, intimidation, and doubt. And each and every day they set out to rob you of your future. Each day they cause you to hesitate. Each day they trick you into wishing and waiting, instead of taking bold action. So the big question for you is, will you live a life of results or a life of regrets? I'm hoping that you will live a life of results, and that's why I'm sharing this information freely with you. And I'll share some of the secrets to doing that with you in this video series, because it is essential to me that these tools be taught and widely shared to encourage our evolution as a species. And it's been my experience with clients and relationships that most people spend their lives something like this, with an empty bucket of positive emotions and a full bucket of negative emotions. So now you've got an idea of what to do and why to do it, but when we return to the individual level, the question becomes, how do you empty out your bucket of negative emotions? And how do you fill up your bucket of positive emotions? And this right here is a recipe for burnout. It is a recipe for exhaustion, irritability, and poor performance. So think of your own 2 buckets for just a minute. How full is your bucket of negative emotions? Think about it on a 1 through 10 scale, with 10 being filled to the top. Now think of your bucket of positive emotions. How full is that? With 10 being filled to the top. And do you honestly have 3 times as much positive emotion in there as negative emotion? Because that's where study after study has set the bar for a thriving, productive, successful life. So let me explain my model of affect to you so you can have a complete understanding of how affect operates.